before I take a shower. I always warn my two younger brothers not to peek, but every single time, the moment I close that door, they just can't help but sneak over. But this time, when they tried to peek, they noticed something was off. A massive wave of freezing mist poured out of the bathroom. They instantly knew something dangerous was happening inside. They rushed to the door and tried to push it open together. But when they finally got in, what they saw left them completely frozen in shock. Frost had already taken over the entire room. The bathwater hadn't even started running yet, and I had already turned into a solid ice sculpture. John totally freaked out. He immediately ran out to get help. Meanwhile, Mike stayed by my side, examining me closely. My face was pale white. There were no signs of life left in me. Right then, John came rushing back, holding a flamethrower in his hands. He wanted to use fire to melt me. Thank God Mike stopped him just in time. Otherwise, I would have been a goner for real. To bring me back to normal, they hurried to carry me to the living room, but their hands slipped, and I went sliding all the way down the stairs. Luckily, I was rock solid at that point, so I didn't shatter into pieces. Minutes passed by, but there was still no sign of me melting. The two brothers were completely out of options, so they carried me back to the bathroom. They figured maybe I'd thaw out by summer. Then they just went to the living room to watch TV. But suddenly, the whole house started shaking violently. The next second, meteors came crashing down like rain. The two of them were terrified. Luckily, they managed to hide inside the fireplace before things got worse. That's the only reason they survived. Once the danger passed, they finally dared to crawl out and check on things. But the moment they pushed open the front door, a massive meteor floated right past their eyes. Looking around, there were countless meteors everywhere. John looked down in panic. There was no solid ground beneath his feet anymore, just a brilliant galaxy stretching out below. Even his spit floated away into the distance. They had entered zero gravity. That's when they finally understood the truth. Our entire house had been floating in space this whole time. Meanwhile, I had returned to normal in the bathroom. I thought it was just another prank from my brothers, so I didn't think much of it. I went back to adjust the water temperature, ready to continue my shower. But what I had no idea about was that this simple action of mine had already caught the attention of aliens. When I got dressed and walked out of the bathroom, the whole house started shaking violently again. Unbelievably, an alien spaceship had parked right outside our front door. The three of us were absolutely stunned. We immediately ran and hid in the basement together. John grabbed the satellite phone with trembling hands and sent out a distress signal to Earth. But before we got any response, a dark shadow suddenly flashed past the doorway. In that moment, all three of us were completely paralyzed with